Can you hear me now? Oh, okay, there, it's working now. Okay, okay. I just did my intro. Is that working? Can you hear me now? Oh, okay, there, it's working now. Okay, so yes, I got it working now. Okay, welcome to X1T, and together we are going to revolutionize the gaming industry. So yeah, I'm just learning how to do this YouTube stuff. I'm just learning how to code, and yeah, why am I doing this? Well, eventually I'm just kind of sick and tired of having computer gamers or having gaming companies come up and then just get bought out and just be sellouts and not create actually good games. And now we have these big industries that all they care about is money for the little guy. So I want to, I don't know, I guess tackle this David and Goliath kind of thing where I'm just going to learn how to code and I'm starting my own gaming industry, and together we're going to revolutionize it. Where we're going to actually make quality games for you guys or for us, and not uh, not be sellouts. Yeah, but to make these quality games, it's not just going to be me coding. I have absolutely no idea that if my games are going to be good or not. It's not that my games are going to be better. I'm just sick and tired of games being repeat, and that we have like PlayStation 3, 3, 4, and 5, and we still have the same game with just new graphics. So yeah, I'm going to need your guys' help. So whoever wants to come along, please partner up with me and share this to someone who actually knows how to code and who could teach. Share this to people who want to learn how to code and we could work together. Share this for people who just want to actually get into game design and want to create games and good quality games at that. Um, yeah, because these games aren't going to be all created by me. I'm going to be eventually looking for a working force of people that I could work with. And so, how you can partner with us is just to share your stuff, share this video. Yeah. So I know this video is going to be boring. We've been doing Unity, learning from Unity, doing C sharp, and we're learning how to get a car to move and avoid objects and interact with the objects. So far, it's just been a click and drag, so it's been very, very easy. You could go to learnunity.com. Right now, the thing is free, I believe. I got it for free. Hopefully, it's going to stay for free, and you could do the junior programmer pathway. Um, so what we're going to do is just yeah, watch the videos together. You guys are going to have just the audio. Um, I'm not going to be sharing you the actual video, so you can go on to the actual website yourself. Um, but yeah, let's enjoy. So I'm going to go over here. This is what I got already. What we have is just a car to be inserted. We can move around, look around. If you right click and do this is what we learned last videos, your gaming keyboards to pretend that you're a first person shooter. You can move around, stuff like this. So that's our first vehicle that we're working on. And then we got a box over here. And if I click on it, I can make it the focal length by pressing F. And then if I go Alt and then click this way, we could rotate around the actual box that we need. But yeah, so let's head on to the next video and try to do this together. So hopefully you guys enjoy this guy's sound while you just look at my jaw dropping.
Now we've added our player, our vehicle, and our obstacle to our scene, but now we really want to get a lens of our player and understand their perspective. So we can actually do that using our camera. If you go to the hierarchy on the left side of Unity, select your main camera by clicking on it, you can see that now we have the camera selected. This very large rectangle pops up, and on the bottom right, we can actually see our camera preview. In fact, if I deselect the camera, the preview goes away, And if I select the camera again, the preview comes back. So the preview is actually what we can see of what the player will see in our game. And in fact, that preview is entirely mapped to this huge rectangle that we can see in our scene. And so this is very helpful to see and understand what the player sees. Our camera actually controls what we see in our game view. So, in fact, if I go to the top of Unity and I press the play button, you can see that our scene view changes to this view here, which is our game view. In fact, in the center, the two tabs are side by side right next to each other. So, in our game view, you can see that if I try and click on our vehicle here, nothing will happen. I can still select the vehicle in the hierarchy, however, nothing changes here. Versus if I go to my scene, you can see that our vehicle's back there. If I select the move tool, I can move our vehicle again. And then in the game view, you can see that our vehicle actually moved a little bit. So maybe if I go in the transform component, if I press like 5. Okay, cool. So the vehicle is moving. That's interesting. Now, the one thing about play mode is, so this is how we test how our different objects interact in our world, how our player can, for example, control our vehicle. Since I made changes to our vehicle in our scene view, in fact, if I press the play button again, so I stop the play mode, our vehicle actually moves back. Let's see if I can test that again. We'll go straight into the scene view this time by clicking on it, and I'll just move the vehicle back somewhere to like maybe like 10-ish or so. And then I press play again. Our vehicle snaps backwards. So play mode doesn't actually save if we change anything about any of our objects. But our play mode and our game view is really helpful. So when we're testing out how our player actually plays and experiences the game, we can see that in the game view versus in our scene view, where we go to set up our objects, position our vehicles, move our obstacles in our scene, and interact with them that way to create a layout for our environment. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into your hierarchy, select your camera, you can see the camera, and then if you want to go into your play mode, you can press the play button, and it'll go into your game view. In fact, you can use Control or Command P to actually exit play mode. And if you press that again, Control or Command and the P key, it'll go back in. And so you can see what your player will see when they're actually in the game. Now it's your turn.
Okay, so that wasn't too bad. Just going through it, looking at the camera, going back and forth between the game scene. I think we got that one, so we'll mark that one as complete. These things aren't marking as complete. Okay. Sorry, my computer is extremely slow trying to figure out what is going on and going to the next videos. Okay, so it didn't mark as complete. No, it didn't. Mark as complete. Done. Locate your camera. We just did that. Okay, move the camera behind the vehicle. Okay.
Watch me before you do this yourself. So we've learned a little bit about the perspective of our player and what they can see and experience. We've added our vehicle and we've added our obstacle now. So we're actually going to reposition our camera in our scene. So that way we can actually get a better view behind our vehicle. So what we're actually going to do is, instead of using our transform component on the right side, we're going to make sure we select our camera. And in the top left, you can see all of the different tools that we have. So for now, we're going to make sure that we have our move tool selected. It's those 4 arrows in those 4 different directions. So remember, Control and hold, and then left click on the red arrow. And so we can move our camera on the x-axis here, and I want to get it to 0. Cool. And now I'm going to keep my mouse cursor in our scene view, and I'm going to press F to focus so I can shift the perspective again back onto our camera. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this blue arrow so I can move our camera behind our vehicle. So if I left click and press and hold our control key, I can move our camera back somewhere to around, say, there. And then the same thing with our Y. I will press the control key and hold and left click and drag. So we'll put it somewhere about there. Cool. So now our camera, if I focus back in by pressing the F, and then I'll reposition my camera of our scene view. Now you can see that our camera, according to our preview, is just looking straight off the road. So that's not a helpful perspective at all. So we're going to reposition this camera this time with our rotate tool. So if you go to the top left of Unity, you can see this circle arrows. If I click on that, our rotate tool is selected. And now, in fact, you can see all of the different arrows have turned into lines, but these lines are actually well aligned to all of the different axes that we were playing around with before, so the X, the Y, and the Z. Now, to make it a little bit easier for us, I'm actually going to go to the top right of our scene view, and you can see this handy little gizmo over here with all of the different arrows. In fact, if I click on this green Y arrow here, you can see our perspective actually shifts to a top-down view from what we would see on the Y. And so I'm going to reposition back over the camera. So now I can very clearly see this green line, which will actually rotate around our Y-axis in this case. So if I click on the green line, I can rotate our camera by dragging it to the right or to the left. So I want to drag it, we'll say it's about there. And maybe I'll clean this up a bit later. So that's a good behind view. And now, in fact, I want to get a better perspective on our car. You can see it's not entirely in frame. So if I click on this opposite arrow of our Z arrow, this will actually, instead of bringing us to the front of our camera, this will put us behind our camera. And so now you can see we have a better view of our Z axis here. Actually, in fact, I want to go to the X, so I'm going to go to the side view, click that. There you go, better. So now you can see, we can see the Z axis. So this will actually rotate our camera up and down. If I click and hold on this, I can drag it down a little bit. And now we have a really good view of our vehicle. In terms of other tools that you can use to make it easier, so on the top left with all of our different tools, we have all the way on the left-hand side our hand tool. So in fact, if we select our hand tool and we left-click and drag around our scene view, you can see actually this is very similar to just moving our scene view camera or scene view perspective. The tool next to it that we were playing around with, that's our move tool. So we can move our camera or any of our objects in these three different directions. Let's see if I can get that X back. There you go. Cool. Now you can see all the different arrows. The tool next to that is our rotate tool, which we use to rotate our camera down towards the player. The tool next to that is actually our scale tool, which in this case wouldn't really do anything because we're on a camera. But if we were to select our obstacle or our vehicle, we could make our vehicle larger if we wanted to. The tool next to that is our rect tool. So this actually combines the move, rotate, and scale tool all in one tool. However, this is only very useful for 2D. In fact, if I select the vehicle, you can get a better view. There's this kind of rectangular outline around our vehicle. So useful for 2D. In this case, we have a 3D world, so that doesn't really help. If we select the last tool all the way on the right side, this actually combines our move, rotate, and scale tool, and you can actually see all of them around our vehicle. So you can see the rotate tool around it. You can see the movement arrows. If you click on this gray box, you can scale your vehicle up and down. I don't want to do that though, so I'm just going to Control or Command Z to undo that all the way so it's back to normal size. So you can actually use this tool to control all the different aspects. Useful little tip to actually scroll through all of those. So if you actually just press the Q key on your keyboard, it'll select the hand tool. If you press the W key on your keyboard without doing anything, it'll select the move tool. If you select the E key, that's our rotate. If we use the R key, that's our scale. If we press the T key, that's our rect tool. And then if we press the Y key, that's all of our tools together for our 3D space. And then one last thing that we can do just to see and make sure that our main camera is set up properly, even though we can see it in our camera preview, is if we go into our game view again by pressing the play button at the top, you can see now our perspective has shifted from side view to behind our vehicle. So that's very helpful. So what you're going to do is you're going to select your main camera.
Okay, and that's it.
And you're going to move the camera behind our vehicle.
Yeah. So
and then you're going to use.
Okay, so that's what you guys got from the thing. So just talking to you a little bit about these tools and how to work with them. Hopefully it's fairly straightforward. Yeah, it's not it's pretty simple for Unity to do stuff like that. So we'll do another video. It's been that long. You guys are still watching. You guys are crazy. Thank you. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Just looking at the YouTube stuff. Okay, so let's go down to the next video. Customize the interface layout, number 7. So we'll probably finish off with 2 more, or just lesson recap afterwards. So we'll probably finish off today with this one, and then we'll go to the lesson 1.2 tomorrow. Just looking through all their stuff. So I guess I could bring you guys, show you this part. Hopefully. Okay, so yeah, this is Learn with Unity. And so this is where we're at right now. We'll finish watching this one, which is the number 7. But then lesson recap. I don't think we really need a lesson recap. This stuff is all very straightforward. Okay, so the next lesson. So tomorrow we're actually going to be writing code. As it says, like it's right here. It says next lesson. So we'll finish off today strong. Finish up all the number 7s, and then tomorrow we'll probably go through the tutorial lesson 1.2. And I just want to see how long those ones are. It says like an hour and 10 minutes, so I'll probably split that one up into 2 segments as well. And then we'll actually get to creating scripts, doing actual code, which I am pretty excited for, because that's what I want to do. Okay, so that's just looking ahead. Let's go back. And yeah, again, sorry that I'm not going to be showing you the videos. Like I say, it's not my stuff to actually show. And I've asked and no one said anything. So I don't want to get sued. And it's free. You guys could just go to learnunity.com or learn.unity.com. Yeah, because it's unity.com and then you're learning stuff. Okay, so we'll go finish strong with the number 7. And I'll do my best to just continue along with what he's doing so that you guys can see.
So we've set up our camera, so now that we have a good perspective of what our player will see, we're going to play around with the actual Unity editor itself to rearrange some of our windows and make it easier for us to navigate. So a really cool thing about Unity is you can actually reorganize all of these different little tabs that you see to clean up our project and make it a little bit more efficient for us. So in fact, for example, with our game view, if I left click on it and I drag it, it actually snaps out of the view that we're in. And I can put this wherever I really want. So I can put this underneath the scene, and then we can actually resize these windows. Or if I left click and drag the game again, I can drag it down to the bottom where our project window was. and put it down there. So that's kind of cool. We can rearrange things however we want. Luckily, in Unity, we can actually just do all of these things with some preset options. So on the top right, all the way past the inspector, in the corner, you can see this little button that says default. So in fact, if I left click on that, and since I move things around, if I click on the default button again, it'll reset my entire editor experience to be back to what we had in the very beginning. And then if I click on the default option again, there's other options. So there's a 2x3, which is kind of cool. There's a 4 split. So this is kind of useful, especially if you're doing like a 2D game or something like that. There's a tall layout. And so this one puts our scene view and our game view side by side, which is kind of useful. We have a much larger view of what is happening. So I actually kind of like the tall view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange some things a little bit. So I'm going to make our inspector just a bit smaller. So you see these lines between the windows. You can actually mouse over them. It turns into this little drag icon. And then you can click and drag our inspector. So I'll make that a bit smaller. I'm actually going to make our hierarchy and our project column a little bit smaller too. So I'll click and drag. Now our project window is kind of messy now. So what I could do is all the way at the bottom right of our project window, there's this little slider at the bottom. So this actually makes our icons larger. If I drag it to the right, if I drag it all the way to the left, it actually makes it smaller. So then I can like double click on these instead, and then it'll just create list views of what I can see. But I don't get those cool little previews of our little assets, unfortunately. And then it's still kind of narrow. If I had longer names, it'd be really hard to see. So in fact, I'm just going to turn this into one column entirely instead of having these two small columns. So in my project window, all the way on the right side, there's this tiny drop down. And if you're using a new version of Unity, you'll see 3 dots in a vertical line. So if I click on that, you can see there's a 2 column layout or there's a 1 column layout. So if I click on the 1 column, now it gets rid of my folder previews for what I can see inside my vehicles folder. So now instead, I just have to click on these little drop-down arrows, and then it shows me all of the different assets that I can use. Same thing with the obstacles. The nice thing too is it makes it a little bit easier if I collapse the vehicles folder, and then I can even collapse my course library. Now it like looks really clean, which is helpful. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to left click and drag the game window, and I'm actually going to drag it to the bottom of our view, and it pops like that. Now, one thing that might happen is, for example, if you actually drag it out of a space where there's anywhere it could snap to, it'll actually pop out like this, which can be helpful sometimes, but not entirely ideal. So you can actually just click on that tab again, drag it back, and then snap it in place. And now if we make this a bit larger, cool. Now we have a really good view of our game and our scene at the same time. So this is what we as the creator see versus what our player will see when they play the game. And then if we want to actually save this all the way on the right side back to where we set our layouts, if you click on that, at the bottom of the options is actually a save layout. So if I click on save layout, I can rename. So I'll call this my layout. So now I have my layout saved to use whenever I want. So that's super handy. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on my layout, and you can select one of the different layouts that you think is cool. In this case, I went with the tall layout, and then I dragged out by clicking on the game tab and then dragging it down to the bottom, snapped it to the bottom of our scene view. So now we have both views together. I resized my inspector and my hierarchy just so there's more space. And then because our project window got a bit cluttered because it's pretty small down here, on the project window, all the way on the right side, you see this little drop down. If I click on that, there's an option to select 1 column layout. And so now all of our folders are just in these columns, and I can just expand them and collapse them to see what's inside. Now it's your turn.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. You guys saw it's very customizable. You can put it however you like, which is pretty nice. I'm gonna probably stick with the default option personally. Um, just because. Okay, actually no. I could go back to the guy where it says my layout because I didn't realize you could do that. So you got all this stuff here. Maybe that is a little bit better because then you have all of the things on this side easier to work with. So this is like where you're clicking your mouse rather than, oh, I want to have the red car. So the red car's over here. You click on it and then you go all the way over here to do the inspector tab. Yeah, actually no, I might like this. I might like this indeed. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys want me to switch back. If you want me to keep it like this. Yeah, because you guys can still see pretty much what's going on. My camera's not even bothering you guys, because you can still even see that component, which is pretty nice. And worst comes to worst, if you guys need to see something, I can just pull it out. Okay, so maybe we'll watch that recap, the lesson recap, just to kind of see what's going on. It's only a couple minutes.
All right, so we've made it to the end of this lesson. As a recap, we've learned a lot of new functionality. So we got our first project set up and imported so that we can use all of the different assets available to us, like our obstacles or our vehicles. We learned how to position our objects. So in this case, we have our vehicle.
It's just a recap.
At the.
I don't want to waste my time or your guys' time, and you guys are already wasting your time by watching me. But yeah, so I just want to say thank you guys for today. I think I'm going to end it there. We're going to start tomorrow with actual code, is what it says. So I just got, oh, sweet. It says you earned, what is it? Unity Essentials level 1. Yeah, 480 more experience to level up. So you get these points that I have no idea what they're for, but it feels good. Just feels good. So yeah, go on to the website, get your own points. Don't piggyback off my points. They're my points. But yeah, so we'll go continue. What do you guys think? Yeah, this was pretty good. Let's give it a 4. You always give it a 4. Clear instructions, good. Yeah, and submit feedback and continue. So we're going to the next tutorial. It's going to be lesson 1.2. We'll continue on tomorrow. Yeah, so we basically got the basic skills on how to actually work on Unity. I really actually liked this this layout thing right here, splitting all that stuff right here. I did not know that before, and you don't really like look at YouTube tutorials to do that. So that was actually pretty interesting to be able to move and organize everything how you like it. Yeah, and then if I have it differently and I do YouTube videos, I could just probably mess people up because they're like, why is it the default and blah, 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 blah. But we will figure it out. But yeah, other than that, the tools up here, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just right-click, move around. You middle-click, you can move the objects around, which is a little bit faster. To see your scene, scroll in and out. Press F to go back to focus. So there are different ways of actually getting around to actually see your scene, stuff like that. Yeah, so that's pretty much my recap of the thing. So yeah, we'll see you guys again tomorrow, and I just want you to remember, together we are revolutionizing the gaming industry. And it's just going to take one step at a time. And right now we're just learning how to code in C#. So come on, learn with me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.